Nottingham Forest Football Club are a football club in Nottinghamshire, England that currently plays in the Football League Championship. The club, often referred to simply as Forest, have played home matches at the City Ground since 1898. Founded in 1865, Forest were founder members of the Football Alliance in 1889 and joined the Football League in 1892. Forest won the FA Cup in 1898 and 1959. Their most successful period was under the management of Brian Clough between 1975 and 1993, winning the league, back-to-back European Cups, 4 League Cups and 2 full Members' Cups. History. Early years. Nottingham Forest F.C. was founded in 1865 by a group of bandy and shinty players, as Nottingham Forest Football and Bandy Club shortly after their neighbours Notts County, thought to be the world's oldest surviving professional association football club, in 1862. They joined the Football Alliance in 1889 and won the competition in 1892. They then entered to the Football League. In 1890, Forest moved to the town ground, playing in the first ever match to use goal nets. Forest claimed their first major honour when they won the 1898 FA Cup, beating Derby County 3-1 at Crystal Palace. The club spent most of the first half of the 20th century in the second division. In 1949, they were relegated to the third division but were promoted 2 years later as champions. Forest regained First Division status in 1957 and won the FA Cup for a second time in 1959, defeating Luton Town at Wembley. After being runners-up and the League and Cup semi-finalists in 1967, Forest were relegated from the First Division in 1972. Brian Clough. Forest were considered an underachieving club by English League standards until the mid-1970s, when Brian Clough and his assistant Peter Taylor took the helm at the club, shortly after Clough's highly colourful, very controversial and ultimately disastrous 44-day tenure as manager of Leeds United. Clough became the most successful manager in the history of Nottingham Forest. He had won the league title with Forest's neighbours Derby County in 1972, and came to Nottingham Forest on January 6, 1975, after a 0-2 home defeat by Notts County, on Boxing Day, prompted the committee to sack the previous manager Alan Brown. Clough's first game in charge was the third-round FA Cup replay against Tottenham Hotspur, a 1-0 victory thanks to a goal by Scottish centre-forward Neil Martin. Nottingham Forest won promotion to the top division at the end of the 1976-77 season after finishing third in the second division, but no one could have predicted how successful Clough's team would be over the next 3 seasons. Nottingham Forest became one of the few teams to win the English First Division Championship a year after winning promotion from the English Second Division. In 1978-79, Forest went on to win the European Cup by beating Malmö Paragraph 1-0 and Munich's Olympia Stadion and retained the trophy in 1979-80. Beating Hamburg 1-0 in Madrid, at the Santiago Bernabeu Copyright U Stadium, thanks to an outstanding performance by goalkeeper Peter Shilton. They also won the European Super Cup and 2 League Cups. Besides Shilton, key players of that era included right-back Viv Anderson, midfielder Martin O'Neill, striker Trevor Francis and a trio of Scottish internationals, winger John Robertson, midfielder Archie Gemmill and defender Kenny Burns. The club reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup in 1983-84 but were knocked out by Anderlecht in controversial circumstances. It later emerged that in the second leg, the Belgian club had bribed the referee but the referee in question had since died in a car accident and was hence not able to be held to account. Nottingham Forest's next significant trophy came in 1989 when they beat Luton Town 3-1 in the League Cup final. For most of the season they had been hopeful of completing a unique domestic treble, but were beaten into third place in the league by Arsenal and Liverpool and lost to Liverpool in the replay of the FA Cup semi-final, originally held at Hillsborough, where 96 Liverpool fans were crushed to death on terracing. The match was abandoned after 6 minutes. When football resumed they captured the full Members' Cup with a 4-3 victory over Everton. Clough's side retained the League Cup in 1990 when they beat Oldham Athletic 1-0. the winning goal scored by Nigel Jempson. There was chance for more success in 1991 when Forest reached their only FA Cup final under Brian Clough and went ahead after scoring an early goal against Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley, but ended up losing 2-1 in extra time after an own goal by Des Walker. Forest beat Southampton 3-2 in the full Members' Cup final in 1992, but then lost to Manchester United in the League Cup in the same season, both finals being played by a Forest team much weakened by injuries. Brian Clough's 18-year reign as manager ended in May 1993 when Forest were relegated from the inaugural Premier League after 16 illustrious years of top-flight football which had seen a league title, 2 European Cups and 4 League Cups. Frank Clough, who had been a left-back in Nottingham Forest's 1979 European Cup winning team, returned to the club in May 1993 to succeed Brian Clough as manager. His management career has previously been uneventful, although he had won the 4th Division promotion playoffs with Leyton Orient in 1989. Making key signings including Stan Collymore, Colin Cooper, Lars Buinen, and convincing Stuart Pearce to remain at the club, Clough was able to achieve a return to the Premier League when the club finished Division 1 runners-up at the end of the 1993-94 season. Forest finished third in 1994-95 and qualified for the UEFA Cup their first entry to European competition in the post-Heysel era. The club reached the quarter-finals, the furthest an English team reached in UEFA competitions that season. The 1996-97 season became a relegation battle and Clough left the club in December. Stuart Pearce and Dave Bassett, 34-year-old captain Stuart Pearce was installed as player-manager on a temporary basis and he inspired a brief upturn in the club's fortunes. In March 1997 he was replaced on a permanent basis by Dave Bassett. Forest were unable to avoid relegation and finished the season in bottom place. They won promotion back to the Premier League at the first attempt, being crowned Division 1 champions in 1997-98. Bassett was sacked in January 1999, with Ron Atkinson replacing him. Into the 21st century, Ron Atkinson was unable to prevent Forest from once again slipping back into the Football League with a succession of poor results. David Platt succeeded Atkinson and spent approximately £12 a million on players, including the Italian veterans Marino Mannini, Salvatore Matricano and Gianluca Petracci. Platt managed 2 mid-table finishes before departing to manage England U21s. Paul Hart became the Reds' new boss just 2 hours after the departure of Platt. They finished 16th in his first season in charge. At this time the collapse of ITV Digital left many Football League clubs in severe financial difficulties, Forest included. Despite the off-field difficulties, Forest finished 2002-03 in 6th place and qualified for the play-offs, where they lost to Sheffield United in the semi-finals. A poor league run the following season, following the release of key players, led to the sacking of Hart in February 2004 in order to prevent relegation. The decision was unpopular with certain quarters of the fan base and Hart was described as a scapegoat. Joe Kinnear was subsequently appointed and led the club to 14th place in the final league table. The 2004-05 season saw Forest drop into the relegation zone once more, leading to Kinnear's resignation in December 2004. Following the brief caretaker stewardship of Mick Harford, Gary Megson took charge of Forest in January 2005 but failed to stave off relegation as the club ended the season second from bottom in 23rd place, becoming the first European Cup winners ever to fall into their domestic third division. In Forest's first season in the English third tier in 54 years, a 3-0 defeat at Oldham Athletic in February 2006 led to the departure of Megson by mutual consent, leaving the club only 4 points above the relegation zone. Frank Barlow and Ian McParland took temporary charge for the remainder of the 2005-06 season, engineering a 6-match winning run and remaining unbeaten in 10 games, the most notable result a 7-1 win over Swindon Town. Forest took 28 points from a possible 39 under the two, narrowly missing out on a play-off place, as they finished in 7th place. Colin Calderwood was appointed as the 12th manager of Forest in 13 years in May 2006 and became the longest-serving manager since Frank Clough. The Calderwood era was ultimately one of rebuilding. In his first season he led the club to the playoffs, having squandered a 7-point lead at the top of League One which had been amassed by November 2006. Forest eventually succumbed to a €5-4 aggregate defeat in the semi-finals against Yeovil Town. Calderwood achieved automatic promotion in his second year at the club, following an impressive run which saw Forest win 6 out of their last 7 games of the season, culminating in a dramatic final €3-2 win against Yeovil at the City Ground. The Reds kept a league record of 24 clean sheets out of 46 games, proving to be the foundation for their return the second tier of English football. Calderwood's side struggled to adapt to life in the Championship in the 2008-09 campaign, following the signings of Robert Earnshaw, Paul Anderson, Guy Mousey and Joe Garner to replace the likes of Grant Holt, Sammy Clingan, Junior Agogo, Matt Lockwood and Chris Commons, who signed for Derby County having left Forest. Having been unable to steer Forest out of the relegation zone, Calderwood was sacked following a Boxing Day for a €2 defeat to the then bottom-of-the-table Doncaster Rovers. Under the temporary stewardship of John Pemberton, Forest finally climbed out of the relegation zone, having beaten Norwich City 3-2. Billy Davies was confirmed as the new manager on January 1, 2009 and watched Pemberton's side beat Manchester City 3-0 away in the FA Cup, prior to taking official charge. Under Davies, Forest stretched their unbeaten record in all competitions following Calderwood's sacking to 6 matches, including 5 wins. He also helped them avoid relegation as they finished 19th in the Championship, securing survival with 1 game to go. In preparation for the 2009 Euro 10 campaign, Forest signed 9 players, 5 of whom were on loan at the club in the previous season and returned on permanent deals. The returnees Lee Camp, Chris Gunter, Joel Lynch, Paul Anderson and Dexter Blackstock have been joined by Paul McKenna, David McGoldrick, Deal Adebola and Loni Radazai Majewski. The season was a successful one for Forest with the club holding a top 3 position for the majority of the season, putting together an unbeaten run of 20 league games, winning 12 home league games in a row, going unbeaten away from home from the beginning of the season until January 30, 2010 whilst also claiming memorable home victories over local rivals Derby County and Leicester City. On April 10, 2010, despite it being confirmed that the club would miss out on automatic promotion to the Premier League after West Bromwich Albion defeated Doncaster Rovers 3-2, Forest secured a playoff place in the Football League Championship after a 3-0 home victory against Ipswich Town. However, Forest were beaten by Blackpool at Bloomfield Road, 2-1, on May 9, 2010 and 4-3 in the home leg at the City Ground on May 12, 2010, going out 6-4 on aggregate and missing out on promotion to the Premier League. The 2010 Euro 11 season saw Forest finish in 6th place in the Championship table with 75 points, putting them into a playoff campaign for the 4th time in the space of 8 years. Promotion was yet again to elude Forest, as they were beaten over 2 legs by eventual playoff final winners Swansea City. Having drawn the first leg 0-0 at the City Ground, they were eventually beaten 3-1 in the second leg in a hard-fought contest against the Welsh outfit. In June 2011 Billy Davies's contract was terminated, and he was replaced as manager by Steve McLaren, who signed a 3-year contract. Forest started the 2011 Euro 12 season with several poor results and after a 5-1 defeat away to Burnley, David Leet and Bill Bessick left the club's coaching setup. Less than a week later, following a home defeat to Birmingham City, McLaren resigned, and chairman Nigel Doughty announced that he intended to resign at the end of the season. In October 2011, Nottingham Forest underwent several changes. These changes included the appointment of Frank Clough as new chairman of the club and also that of Steve Cotterill, replacing the recently departed Steve McLaren. Nigel Doughty, owner and previous chairman of the club, died on February 4, 2012, marking the end of a 13-year association with the club, with many estimating his total contribution as £100 million. The Al Hassoui reign, The Al-Hussawi family, from Kuwait, purchased the club and became the new owners of Nottingham Forest in July 2012. The Al-Hussawi family told press that they had a long-term vision for the club based around a €3 5-year plan, and after interviewing several potential new managers, appointed Sean O'Driscoll, formerly manager at Doncaster Rovers and Crawley Town, as the manager on July 19, 2012 after a second round of talks with the then Crawley man. He was known for playing an attractive brand of passing football and what football fans would consider the Forest way. O'Driscoll had spent 5 months at the City Ground as coach under Steve Copperill in the 2011 Euro 12 season before taking over at Crawley. After taking over at Crawley, O'Driscoll never took charge of a single competitive game whilst manager. As of December 15, 2012, after the team's 0-0 draw away at Brighton, Forest sat in 9th position with 33 points, just 3 points off the playoff positions. The Al-Hussawi's €3 5-year plan had turned into a push for the playoffs in their first season as the Nottingham Forest owners. On the same weekend, the club announced that Omar Al-Hussawi had stepped down due to personal reasons and Fawaz Al-Hussawi, the majority shareholder with 75%, stepped into the position, with his brother Abdulaziz Al-Hussawi holding a 20% share and his cousin Omar Al-Hussawi holding a 5% share. The following week, Fawaz posted a tweet from his Twitter account telling fans that he would be purchasing 2 giant screens for the City Ground as well as LED electronic advertising hoarding, which was later confirmed on the club's website along with images of the newly fitted screens. On Boxing Day 2012, manager Sean O'Driscoll was sacked following a 4-2 victory over Leeds United, with the club stating their intentions of a change ahead of the January transfer window and hopes of appointing a manager with Premiership experience. The man to replace O'Driscoll was Alex McAleish. He has vast experience as he guided Birmingham City to the Premier League in 2009, and during his reign at Birmingham City, they also won the Football League Cup. He also had a largely unsuccessful season with Aston Villa. Further to this, he boasts experience in the Scottish Premier League and with the Scotland national football team. The move was criticised by some members of the Forest fan base. Chief Executive Mark Arthur as well as scout Keith Burt and club ambassador Frank Clark were dismissed in January 2013. On February 5, 2013, Nottingham Forest and Alex McAleish had parted company by mutual agreement, just 40 days after McAleish took charge of Forest. Forest supporters and pundits alike registered their concern for the state of the club, with journalist Pat Murphy describing the situation as a shambles. On February 7, 2013, the club reappointed Billy Davies as manager, having been sacked as the team's manager 20 months previously. His first match in charge was a draw, followed by a run of 10 undefeated games. On March 24, 2014, the club announced they have terminated Davies' employment, following a 5-0 defeat by Derby County. Neil Warnock turned down the job as Forest manager on the day Davies was sacked. After initially rejecting the job in March 2014, fans' favourite Stuart Pearce has been named as the man to replace Billy Davies, taking over from caretaker manager Gary Brazil. He has signed a 2-year contract commencing on July 1, 2014. Club identity, colours: Nottingham Forest have worn red since the Club Euro unregistered trademark S foundation in 1865. At the meeting in the Clinton Arms which established Nottingham Forest as a football club, the committee also passed a resolution that the team colours should be a Euro Garibaldi read, a Euro unregistered trademark. This decision was made in honour of Giuseppe Garibaldi, the Italian patriot who was the leader of the Red Shirts Party. At this time, clubs identified themselves more by their headgear than their shirts, and a dozen red caps with tassels were duly purchased, making Forest the first club to officially a Euro unregistered trademark wear red, a colour that has since been adopted by a significant number of others. Forest is the reason behind Arsenal's choice of red, having donated a full set of red kits following Arsenal's foundation in 1886. Club crest: the first club crest used by Forest was the City Arms of Nottingham, which was first used on kits in 1947. The current club badge was introduced in 1974. The logo has been reported as being the brainchild of manager Brian Clough. However, He did not arrive at the club until the year after. Forest have 2 stars above the club badge to commemorate the European Cup victories in 1979 and 1980. Nomenclature: the club has garnered many nicknames over time. Historically, the nickname of Foresters was used, as was Garibaldi's. The Forest, or the simpler Forest is used on the club crest, is commonly used, as is the Reds. Another, lesser used, nickname referring to the club is the Tricky Trees, which TalkSport placed in their top 10 of English football nicknames. Nottingham Forest is occasionally incorrectly referred to as Notts Forest. This moniker has been used for a long time up to the present day, in local, national and international media. Stadium: the City Ground is a football stadium in the West Bridgford area of Nottingham, Nottinghamshire, England, on the banks of the River Trent. It has been home to Nottingham Forest Football Club since 1898, and has an all-seated capacity of 30,602. The stadium was a venue when England hosted Euro '96, and is only 300 yards away from Meadow Lane, home of Forest's neighbouring club Notts County. The 2 grounds are the closest professional football stadiums in England and the second closest in the United Kingdom after the grounds of Dundee FC and Dundee United. They are located on opposite sides of the River Trent. The City Ground is the 24th largest club football ground in England. Local rivals, derbies and supporters. Whilst Notts County is the closest professional football club geographically, Forest have remained at least one division higher since the 1994 Euro '95 season, and the club's fiercest rivalry is with Derby County, located 14 miles away. The 2 clubs contest the East Midlands Derby, a fixture which has taken on even greater significance since the inception of the Brian Clough Trophy in 2007. Leicester City are Forest's other East Midlands rival due to the close proximity of the 2 cities. During the pre-Clough era, Leicester were largely considered Forest's main rivals. This is still the case for Forest fans of Melton Mowbray, Loughborough, Rutland and yesteryear. A Football League Cup tie in September 2007 took on an extra dimension after Leicester defender Clive Clark collapsed due to heart failure. After the match was abandoned, Leicester demonstrated sportsmanship in the replay and allowed Forest keeper Paul Smith to score at the beginning of the match. This was an acknowledgement that Forest were leading 1-0 when the original tie was abandoned. The act was met with applause from both sets of fans and praised by the press. Forest's other regional rival is Sheffield United, based in the neighbouring county of South Yorkshire, a rivalry which has roots in the UK miners' strike 1984-85 when the miners of South Yorkshire walked out on long strikes, but the Notts miners, who insisted on holding a ballot, continued to work. The exciting 2003 Football League Championship playoff semi-final between the 2 clubs, in which Sheffield United finished as €4 aggregate winners, also fueled the rivalry. Forest's fanbase includes a host of celebrity supporters, including England international cricketer Stuart Broad, boxer Carl Froch, golfers Lee Westwood and Greg Owen, Doctor Who actor Matt Smith, politician Kenneth Clarke, Manic Street Preachers singer James Dean Bradfield, actor Jason Statham, Brazilian football manager Luis Felipe Scolari, actor Joe Dempsey, Deep Purple drummer Ian Pace, fashion designer Paul Smith, artist and musician David Shrigley, comedian Matt Ford, skater Christopher Dean, TV and radio presenter Richard Bacon, politician Jim Lester, Metronomy lead singer Joseph Mount, founder of Heavenly Recordings Jeff Barrett, The Pogues guitarist Phil Chevron, Bent lead singer Neil Tolliday, civil servant Sir David Nicholson and actress Sue Pollard. Honours: Domestic League, First Division. Winners: 1977 Euro 78. Second Division. Winners: 1906 Euro 07, 1921 Euro 22, 1997 Euro 98. Third Division. Winners: 1950 Euro 51. Football Alliance. Winners: 1891 Euro 92. Cups: FA Cup. Winners: 1897 Euro 98, 1958 Euro 59. Football League Cup. Winners: 1977 Euro 78, 1978 Euro 79, 1988 Euro 89, 1989 Euro 90. FA Charity Shield. Winners, 1978. Full Members' Cup. Winners, 1988 Euro 89, 1991 Euro 92. European Cup. Winners, 1978 Euro 79, 1979 Euro 80. UEFA Super Cup. Winners, 1979. Minor, Anglo-Scottish Cup. Winners, 1977. Bass Charity Vase. Winners, 1899, 2001, 2002. Brian Clough Trophy. Winners, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013. Dallas Cup. Winners, 2002. Football League Centenary Tournament. Winners, 1988. Nuremberg Tournament. Winners, 1982. Trofeo Colombino Cup. Winners, 1982. Trofeo Villa de Bilbao. Winners, 1979. Managers, records, most appearances for the club, Bob McKinley, 692, Ian Bowyer, 564, Steve Chettle, 526, Stuart Pearce, 522, most goals for the club, Grenville Morris, 217, Nigel Clough, 131, Wally Ardron, 124, Johnny Dent, 122, current longest-serving player, Chris Cohen, signed July 2007, highest attendance, 49,946 versus Manchester United in Division 1, October 28, 1967, lowest attendance, 4,030 versus Morecambe FC. In the Football League Cup, August 13, 2008, record receipts, a £499,099 versus FC Bayern Munich in UEFA Cup quarter-final second leg, March 19, 1996, longest sequence of league wins, 7, wins from May 9, 1922 to September 1, 1922, longest sequence of league defeats, 14, losses from March 21, 1913 to September 27, 1913, longest sequence of unbeaten league matches, 42, from November 26, 1977 to November 25, 1978, longest sequence of league games without a win, 19, from September 8, 1998 to January 16, 1999, longest sequence of league games without a goal, 7, December 13, 2003 to 7 February 2004 and 26 November 2011 to December 31, 2011, quickest goal, League 14 seconds, Jack Lester vs Norwich City, March 8, 2000, League Cup, 23 seconds, Paul Smith vs Leicester City, September 18, 2007 in the League Cup after the first Football League game, September 3, 1892 vs Everton, 2A. Euro 2, record win, 14 Euro 0, vs Clapton, first round FA Cup, January 17, 1891, record defeat, 1 Euro 9, vs Blackburn Rovers, Division 2, April 10, 1937, most league points in one season, 70, Division 3 South, 1950 Euro 51, most league points in one season 94, Division 1, 1997 Euro 98, most league goals in one season, 110, Division 3, 1950 Euro 51, highest league scorer in one season, Wally Ardron, 36, Division 3, 1950 Euro 51, most internationally capped player, Stuart Pearce, 76 for England, youngest league player, Craig Westcar, 16 years, versus Burnley October 13, 2001, record transfer fee paid, a £4,500,000 for Pierre van Hooijdonk from Celtic, March 1997. Record transfer fee received, a £8,500,000 for Stan Collymore to Liverpool, June 1995, after the first by agreement with Leicester City. The game was a replay as the original match 3 weeks previous was abandoned at half-time, due to the collapse of Leicester player Clive Clough, with Forest leading 1-0. European record, shirt sponsors, 1981 Euro 1983, Panasonic, 1983 Euro 1984, Wrangler, 1984 Euro 1986, Skoll, 1986 Euro 1987, Home Ales, 1987 Euro 1991, Shipstones, 1992 Euro 1997, Labots, 1997 Euro 2003, Pinnacle, 2003 Euro 2009, Capital One, 2009 Euro 2012, Victor Chandler, 2012 Euro 2013, John Pye Auctions, 2013 Euro. A4's International Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Company. Players, current squad, as of July 22, 2014, note, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Youth players. Note, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Notable former players. Player of the Year. All-time 11. In 1997 and 1998, as part of the release of the book The Official History of Nottingham Forest, a vote was carried out to decide on the club's official all-time 11. International players, see List of Nottingham Forest F.C. International footballers, club officials, board of directors, technical staff, notes, the others were Liverpool in 1906, Everton in 1932, Tottenham Hotspur in 1951 and Ipswich Town in 1962. Forest remain the only club to achieve this feat, having not been promoted as champions. The second tier of English football is the Football League First Division. When the leagues were restructured and the Premiership was formed, the organisation, the Football League, ceased administering the top flight of English football, the Premiership. Administration of the top flight of English football was taken over by the Football Association. The second tier of English football is the top tier of the Football League, and clubs play for the same trophy that used to be the prize of the top flight of English football. Nottingham Forest are therefore inscribed on that trophy as twice winners. Upon its formation in 1992, the Premier League became the top tier of English football. The first and second divisions then became the second and third tiers, respectively. The first division is now known as the Football League Championship and the second division is now known as Football League One. References. External links, official website.